Dot, 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 dot. Good morning, everybody. This is Grant from State of the Spark, and it is a lovely, lovely morning. How are you doing this morning? We're doing fantastic here, and I am excited for today's show. It's a little bit of fun with Thinking Friday. I wanted to give you a new word today, a secret Aztec word. I wanted to deposit it in you, and the language is long gone, but it relays so much, especially from an ancient Aztec perspective, but about goals and mission. And we're going to cover that this morning. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about other news. We've got a little bit of other news here. Some interesting stuff from the art world, some interesting stuff from another world. That's Mars. But before all of that, you know what time it is. It's time for a cup of gratitude. A cup of gratitude with you and me this morning. Pull up that warm cup of tea or coffee, and in the comments below or wherever you're watching this, let us know what you're grateful for. I'll start. I'm super grateful for family. Marissa's mother is in town this week, and we were talking a little bit over lunch yesterday, talking about topics that would send nearly any other human being into a politically charged frenzy. But I love the fact that we can just ask inquiring questions of family that knows, likes, and trusts you and get good dialogue going. It's rare to have good dialogue on topics that would otherwise be unacceptable in many situations. So I'm super grateful for that. Daryl says we need to jam today. Hey, Daryl, you know where to find me, man. I'm in the office all day today. I've got a bullet list, but hey, man, let's get together, man. I'd love to connect with you, man. So I'm super grateful for family that knows likes and trusts you, where you can have supercharged conversation and it goes completely smooth. That's what I'm grateful for. What are you grateful for? Daryl Ash, what are you grateful for this morning, man? I just want to hear from everybody and know how you're starting your Friday with a heart full of gratitude. Now let's talk about other news. Let's do this. Very quickly, in other news, busts. Yes, art news. That's where I'm talking about busts. Busts of unabashed women. Daryl says, Daryl Ash family. Boom. Love it. Busts of unabashed women by Gerard Mas, or Gerard Mas, a Spanish sculptor, has a contemporary and cheeky twist. You see, for the last 10 or so years, Gerard Mas has been a Spanish sculptor of porcelain and different types of materials, including polychrome alabaster. And for those who don't know, I sculpt in soapstone. That's something I haven't done in a long time, but it was something I was passionate about and I love doing, and I would love to have an art studio again in the future. But he has been basically creating these busts of modern women in the traditional style, where they have corsets and they have traditional hair plaited, and it looks very medieval. It has very medieval look. But he adds a twist. These are often spirited women who have things like wads of bubblegum blowing bubbles, visible tan lines, picking their noses, or even like a telemarketer's headset on them. It's an interesting commentary, and there's a movement. Not many people know this, but there's a movement in the Spain art scene to actually knock or dethrone the art that is dominated by machismo, masculine art, toreador art that celebrates the man, and a strong movement that is bringing forth modern and contemporary art to actually celebrate the feminine in all of her glory. And so this is another gallery piece that you can see right here, boom, of basically debunking the stereotypes of women through sculpture. You can definitely check that out. And it should have a thumbnail there of the girl blowing bubbles or sticking her tongue out and just being irreverent to the medieval garb put upon her. It's a really cool thing. So check that out. That's one piece of other news. Now, the other piece of other news is this. What if, and why do we care, if Mars water actually never went anywhere? Hey, Grant, I'm too busy thinking about how these interest rates are going up on real estate. I feel you. Why do we care about other news? We got to elevate ourselves, my friends. We got to have other things to talk about than the things that might be bringing people down or might be frustrating them. So why do we care about water on Mars? And did we even know that it was lost in the first place? So water on Mars is largely to have been believed. Well, back up. It is generally accepted that Mars was at one time a wet planet with an ocean, if not more than one ocean. Research from all of our rovers, including the latest Perseverance rover, has shown that what we expected, very up close and high def, and that is during basically what's known as the late heavy bombardment era, where both the moon and Mars encountered a large volume of impact meteorites or asteroids, and they created impact craters all over the planets, both of Mars and of the moon. And where the moon has very sharp and jagged edges, Mars actually has erosion, soil erosion around the edges of these impact craters from a period of time more recent called the Hesperian Age, which is about 3.7 to 3 billion years ago. And the Hesperian Age was really for the planet Mars. And during this time, the Tharsis Bulge, yeah, you heard it here first, Tharsis Bulge. You don't often hear that term. But here, the Tharsis Bulge, which is roughly the size of North America, but a freaking volcano. It was a volcano roughly the size of North America, started to grow and explode. And the CO2 from that was enough to create about 1.4 bars of atmosphere. So it actually had atmosphere. It had about 120-foot meter ocean. And so then the question is over time, what happened to that ocean so the same thing doesn't happen here? Well, the tectonic plate system in Earth allows us to have what's known as a deep water cycle. And that's where our tectonic plates kind of go under one another. And this pulls in a lot of water. That water gets locked into minerals and subtectonic oceans and different cycles like that. It often comes out in the form of rivers or wells or rain cycles. And this is the cycle, the deep water cycle, is connected to our normal rain cycle. And this is what keeps water and our atmosphere kind of locked in place. Well, once the Tharsis Bulge on Mars stopped erupting and the volcanic activity ceased, they have no real deep water cycle. They have no real tectonic plates shifting. And as such, that some people believe that the water was being sucked into the minerals and being locked into the substrata of the planet. And then the dust storms that have happened covered it up. And now it's largely frozen. The temperature on Mars is sub-zero usually. So the idea is this. The traditional theory is that that water on Mars evaporated. It lost its atmosphere and it's gone out into space and there's no water. The new theory is presenting, well, what if the water is actually locked in the crust or the mantle of the planet? Here's why this matters. Colonists don't have to create or bring water with them. Colonists to Mars can actually create wells on the planet itself simply by heating up the substrata of the planet. So it's an interesting little cycle for those who are like, what will people do for water on Mars? I find it supremely interesting. And there's the link for you right in the comments there. For those who want to read a little bit more about processes like sublimation and tectonic plates and deep water cycles, you're welcome to check that out. And that, my friends, is other news about unabashed women in porcelain and the water cycles and where water on Mars actually is. Let's talk about a secret Aztec word for your success. So in my personal development age, when I started really writing more and more of my personal philosophy on personal development and was codifying what that meant for me, I did a lot of research and a lot of study, and I came across a largely unknown book. And one chapter in this entire book was dedicated to the Aztec ideas about personal development. And this was very intriguing to me. And some of this had to just be logically deduced from ancient Aztec writings. Other of it was etymological. Yeah, you heard it here. Etymological. No, that's not the study of bugs. That's the study of words. What is the etymology of the words you use? What do the words that you're using actually mean? And do they have power when you actually know what the words you use mean? Will you be more selective? And more importantly, will you be able to do more than you could previously do just by gaining an understanding of words? And my belief is 100%. if you actually had a robust knowledge of the etymology of the words that you use and I use, then you could wield words in a way that meant more. And if you could wield words that meant more, I believe you could attain higher levels of success. So one thing I've noticed lately is there's a lot of opportunity that people encounter. Good morning, Dan Sampson. I hope you're doing great this morning. There's a lot of opportunity that people have around them. Me and Marissa have an opportunity for a property right now. And when any opportunity encounters friction, which every opportunity does, as does the investment property we're looking at, as does the business you desire, as does Brittany's major definite purpose, as does my goal to do live events again with Spark and really kick off Spark's renewal and refresh in the world of active, adventuresome, uplifting events. All of these visions and dreams and opportunities will at some point encounter friction. And when they encounter friction, suddenly something feels risky. I had a mentor that told me, you need to redefine risk. We're talking about words for a moment and the meaning of words. And he said, I think you should redefine risk. And the question was, well, why? Like we were talking about options trading at the time, and everyone says options trading is risky. And this real estate investor who was a mentor of mine would often say this. He'd say, risk is in proportion to the risk taker, not the investment. I said, what do you mean? He said, think about it and come back to me. So I pondered it, and I just could not get my head around this. No, things are risky. It's risky to jump into a lake in Lakeland or anywhere else because the potential of gators. It's risky to jump into the GameStop stock trade if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know how many gators are in that lake. And this person said, that's exactly it. I said, what do you mean? He said, it's your lack of knowledge. The lake itself, in this example, he wasn't there for this metaphor. The lake itself, GameStop itself, are these good investments or bad investments? Is it good or bad to jump into a lake in Florida? Well, are there gators? Well, if you knew 100% certainty that there were no gators and no snakes, would you jump in? Of course. If I even knew that there was only, one gator, statistic probability, and I knew where that gator was, I would jump in. So the risk of that moment has nothing to do with gators and lakes. It has everything to do with my lack of knowledge and or understanding. This is why any day of the week, I'd rather face a shark than a gator. Why? Because I've faced sharks before. I've encountered sharks before. And nearly all of my experiences have been positive and calm. And for those that have even gotten nipped, I realized sharks don't really want human meat for the most part. Haven't encountered a great white, but you know what I'm saying. Risk is inherent to the risk taker. Whether or not a property deal is a good deal or not is inherent, not with the property itself, hardly at all. It's one's ability to know how they plan on monetizing it or improving their life from it. Risk is inherent with the risk taker. So that was one of the first moments that a word's meaning shifted and empowered me. Do you get what I'm saying? How a word can shift and empower you? This took me farther forward into thinking about all opportunities. Fun fact, opportunities, if you break the word down etymologically, it actually alludes to the idea of an open port. If you break the etymology down, an opportunity is a moment that a port is open to you to take things to the next level. Is the port open to you? Do I have an open port? Do I have an opportunity? Lisa Welsh says, oh, that's good. Do I have an open port? Am I allowed to pull my boat up and trade my wares and have an option to have a go at trading and making my own life more valuable? It's not a guarantee that I will. It's the opportunity to. So I took this thought further and I asked myself, what makes a deal? What percent of a deal are the details? What percent of a deal are the details versus the percent to commit? Now, in all honesty, most deals, most opportunities, I think, are lost because someone gets cold feet because they feel like they lack the details. Well, when is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? And though what we're talking about risk is in the eye of the risk taker, I believe that there's another aspect here. I believe in the 80-20 rule, which is Pareto's principle. And I believe that 80% of every opportunity is level of commitment. 20% of the details. I do believe you need to know the details. I do believe you need to have the details figured out. That will lower your risk. But I believe 80%, especially in the developed world, 80% of the potential success of an opportunity is in the level of the commitment of the risk taker or the opportunity taker. I say this because in our developed world, we have every bit of knowledge available to us. And if we can get to that point of complete internal commitment where we go all in on something, I believe if we can get to that point, we can commit to closing the knowledge gap. It's just a matter of closing the knowledge gaps. Are we willing to reach out to our mentors? Are we willing to reach out to the internet? Are we willing to reach out to people who have been there before? Adam told the story that he reached out to some of these high A-lister mentors because he was willing to commit. He was willing to write Tony Robbins. He was willing to write Seth Godin. He was willing to write Grant Cardone and ask them for mentorship. And when they, as per the probabilities, the statistical probability, when they turned him down, he still heard from their team and gleaned knowledge from that team. 80%, I believe, is the ability to commit. So let me, if I may, give you the ancient Aztec word that you need to know how to commit fully to a moment. The ancient Aztec word sounds like what it means. The word is Olin, or all in. Can you go? The mnemonic device is, can you go all in? It's actually spelled O-L-L-I-N, or the phonetic spelling is O-L-L-I-N, and it's pronounced with a small accent of Olin, like all in, or you could actually pronounce it Olin. It comes from the Nahuatl version of Aztec, and it meant at the time to move with all your heart. And the implication was to follow your path wholeheartedly. And let me give you a few word pictures. The Aztecs also believed that you should wear, if you will, for just a turn of phrase, you should wear your heart on your face, they said, so that your eyes may see your path clearly. You should wear what you're feeling. You should wear your commitment on your face. And if you do not have commitment or passion or drive to wear on your face, you were like a zombie to them. If we cannot see your passion on your face, if we cannot see your drive on your face, that expression of commitment, we don't believe that you can see clearly. They also believe that to see your to see your path was life's purpose. And what's further is they believe that this was a societal requirement. They believe that as an Aztec, you were to actually see your life's purpose. And if you didn't, you were detracting from the society, because they believed that their Aztec society would see its height and its fullness when everyone within their society was living their life's purpose. And the path to that, they believed, was Aulin, to be able to go all in. This phrase was used, if you will, at the moment of virgin sacrifice. You see, quite often priests would do virgin sacrifices in some of these ancient cultures. And the moment would come where they would spend a lot of time weighing. They didn't do this because they devalued life. They did this because they valued life. They would take a virgin from the village and they would spend time with their family, and they would start to feel this person's story and feel this person's life's moment and feel the weight of this thing. They would make sure that they understood the weight of taking a life, and they would have a whole process by which they would take the sacrificial person. And they would go to the altar, and they were now friends with this person. And this person, in their mind, was having to find a moment of commitment. And the priest himself was having to find a moment of commitment and to ask oneself, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to commit to this path? Am I really going to commit to this moment? And that is the moment that the Aztecs would call Aurin. Can they go all in? Can they make a life or death decision? Both of them. Can they commit and go willingly? Can they commit to their next level willingly? The ancient Aztec word, O-L-L-I-N, Olin, coming from the Nahuatl language, meant to imply at the moment of commitment, will you give your full commitment? Now, there's another word, I believe it's in Hungarian, that means one-weighted purpose. It's Ejenshui. Ejenshui? I might be saying it wrong. Ejenshui. And it meant one-weighted purpose. And the word picture is to throw all of your weight into a single endeavor. Very similar to the ancient Aztec word Olen. To throw all of your weight, all of your personal power, all of your commitment, all of your hope, all of your focus, to block everything out and to go all in. Now, we love sports. We love sports because they provide us with so many moments where we can do this. But I believe that this function of the human existence is meant to occur in our daily work and in our daily life. The mnemonic device is, are you willing to go all in? The Aztec word is Olen, or all in. And it does simply mean to throw your entire purpose, to give your entire heart to a direction. I challenge you today on this Friday to ask yourself deeply, when was the last time I truly did not hold back for my business? Brittany spent time to rewrite her major definite purpose. And there's a moment when you write a major definite purpose where you feel that you're going all in. But the best laid plans crumble at first encounter with the enemy. We've heard this. Can you go all in when you encounter resistance? Can you go all in when you encounter friction? And all in might be saying yes. All in might be saying no. But can you come to the moment present, not fearful, and say, yes, take me, or no, I'm not going? But can you be completely present and not ambivalent? Can you wear your heart on your face the way the Aztecs said and say yes or no to things? And this definitiveness of purpose, I believe will bring such a freedom to your heart like you haven't experienced in too long. You know that movie with Jim Carrey, The Yes Man? He just committed to saying yes to anything that would come his way. Pretty funny movie. Can you commit to saying no as well? Because what was funny in a Jim Carrey movie is an exaggeration of the freedom that hits your heart when you say, absolutely no more of this. Absolutely yes to this. I am going to throw my full weight into a thing. Daryl Ash jumps in and says, no turning back. When was the last time you had a no turning back moment? And you just accepted the consequences, positive and negative. You didn't hem and haw. You weren't in a debate about, well, check out my politics and check out this and let's do that. You didn't get sucked into hypotheticals and blowhard, hot air moments. You simply stood up and said, this is what I am doing. And people did da, 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 da. And you're like, that's cute. This is still what I am doing. And society said, da, 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 da. And you stood up and still said, this is what I am doing. This is why I believe most opportunities, most businesses are made or broken, not by a right or wrong detail. You can lower your risk to almost nothing by having all the details. But will you do what it takes to fill in all the details? Will you do what it takes to face your fears and go, no, I'm going to go get answers? And then you can go all in on the thing that encounters you. Listen, I hope this word has been empowering, this Aztec word, Olin. I hope this conversation has been empowering. If you need help or support, please visit us in the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group. Ask your questions, get engaged. If you need support, visit us here. But today, I want you to go all in. I want you to remember the mission, and your own version of it. Mine is igniting lives of explosive significance. I hope that today has made significance in your life. Go make an impact, but remember to impact yourself first. Have a great day.